I'm James Whittington-Phillips, and this is week 7 of the Reflective Logs. So this week was a week of literally rehearsing our monologues and getting feedback. So I started off by just rehearsing our monologues in a sense of, and just trying to get even more, and using what I've learnt already to get more of a sense of like how I can apply this to my monologue. And then I fed back. So I started off with the Shakespeare monologue going over it. Well, actually, no, this week was, and then I performed the contemporary monologue today, and then what was pointed out to me was that I need to use the pauses and literally be even more specific, be really specific of where the thought changes are, so as to not have it keep going up, 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 then all of a sudden, then keep going, just keep it, and so it doesn't stay on one level, and it's like it doesn't go like all of a sudden you're shouting at someone, and all of a sudden it's extremely flat. So it's not the drastic change of up and down. It's more of a, you still have the same level of anger towards the person, but you're doing it in a different way, and it's like you literally in all of those pauses. So I need to use the pauses to show there's a distinct change in attitude, and make sure that is really clear for the audience. Another thing is that I need to make sure that I try and stay grounded as opposed to moving around, and that's a personal point for myself. But also make sure I don't just go lean forward on the ball of my foot and try and stay and just make sure my feet stay flat on the floor, and just make sure I know my intentions for the monologue. I think what went well is the fact that it's like I was sort of getting the monologue, but I need to make sure I finish learning it. That is a key one. That way I can get rid of script and I can really work with it, and just let it go and pretty much just let it flow, especially with the contemporary one, as it's like it's character I know really well, because I know the kind of person my character in the monologue is, and it's a way I can really apply it, and it's really easy to find my in for that character, and literally just I can adapt it, I can adapt myself to it, and it to me is just like I know the kind of character this is. I've seen a lot of this character, or the kind of person this character is, so I can just use my real life experience. It's a really good one, as I can use my real life experience to portray this character, and literally just portray what I see in other people into this character. So it's like, because when you see people on the street having an argument, it's like, ooh, it's like I see that I can use that in my monologue, and that's what I want to try and do. Is like, because I see a lot of people do it, and so I'm gonna go and do it on myself. So so moving on, I want to make sure I learn the monologue, and just pretty much make sure I work on using the pauses, make sure I have the biggest understanding of my monologue, and make sure that the thought changes are clear, and that I don't just all of a sudden switch, but also just make sure I use the pauses and observe the pauses as opposed to just skipping over them. So that will conclude week 7